Tabletop will start after the following messages.
Do you like nerdy stuff? Of course you do. Want to see someone make that stuff, but smaller? Sculpting Minis, tabletop terrain, props, puppets, and tutorials, a crafting channel for all things nerdy. Join me over on YouTube at Niche Crafts, where I make stuff about stuff.
Welcome back to Tabletop. Today we are going to be talking about Halloween one-shots. Everyone likes to do them, having that spooky night with all of your friends, but we want to help out. We want to help build one right here today. Either you can use this as an example, or you can use it for your own Halloween time. It's fine for us. We won't know. So today I have my 3 favorite one-shot builders with me. Who's around this table?
It's me, Franco.
The Witch.
You can find this under Halloween-themed 2023. This is Daniel.
Whoa, okay.
What? Halloween-themed.
Halloween-themed.
Just let Shade go. Keep going. Just keep going.
I'm Shade. All right, we have our marketing brand here.
Shade has the hardest job of going after me sometimes.
All right, so we're going to talk about building this one shot for our
Halloween-y.
A Halloween-y. And we were talking a little bit about parameters off mic, so why don't we set them out here? 1 is that it has to be done in 1 session. 2 is that we are going to make it a horror genre because it is the Halloween one-shot. And then 3, we're making
You don't start saying Halloween-ies.
The marketing director's going to come after me.
What's up, Hallow Honeys? This is Halloween-ies.
Oh, my God. And the 3rd parameter is that it's system agnostic, so it doesn't matter what you're playing. You can use this one shot.
Can I also throw a 4th parameter?
Uh-oh.
It should be low power. Low power levels.
Okay.
The people,
Yeah, whatever you want.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah,
Don't give a shit.
Yeah, whatever.
They should have a lot of options. I'm just
Okay.
So we won't put like a ring of
Fire.
I hurt myself today.
I twerked myself today.
We cannot focus today.
All right,
So, here we go.
I'll be your ADHD medication.
Please.
Yeah, we're going to, like you said, low power. We're going to keep it in 1 location. I think a good premise that might be a lot of fun is to give the players something kind of, a little off-footing. In another episode, I usually say that you want to prep them that this is going to be horror themed, so there's a little more buy-in. But let's try and build something that there isn't so much buy-in. It's a one shot, so you can get away with the kind of surprise here.
I think that what we can do is you can still prep your players by saying hey, this is going to be our Halloween episode, but that doesn't mean horror or whatever. Right. It just means Halloween themed, right?
Yeah, it could be a monster mash.
Yeah, they're going trick or treating.
Yeah, any number
We had
of
one
things.
like that.
Yeah, we did. We absolutely did. Yeah.
Can you remember that show? It was called Trick or Treat. It was like a Halloween special, and I've never seen it again. It was really creepy and fun.
What channel was it on?
I don't remember, but it was animated.
Actually, I realized
have you ever seen this thing? I don't think I've ever seen it.
There wasn't a getting there, but it was long enough.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
anyway,
Danny, you did crash last night. Did you forget something?
No.
anyway, we're going to try and do something where, it's a little bit of a surprise. They're prepped by saying it's a Halloween episode. So let's say that, they're traveling since their last adventure. And in fact, there was an off-screen adventure where they saved a village that they passed by. And the only thing that these adventurers this village had to offer by way of thanks is there is another kind of nearby resorts that we think you would really love.
Yeah, like
here
a hot
are some like a hot springs or something like that. Here are some passes to that.
An onsen.
roller
Everything
coaster
is
market.
anime.
Yeah, a roller coaster market. Yeah.
Sick ref.
Yeah, and I think you could
Wait,
like if you plan
yeah.
it ahead far enough, you could even make it an on-screen episode that's like, hey, they help an NPC, and they're like, hey, here's
He just gave me an idea.
Okay.
What if that never fucking happened? They just show up at a village and they like, I don't know, they get like mind wiped or something like that. And
Yeah.
these villagers tell them like, oh yeah, thanks for saving us and blah, blah, blah. And then in the resort, there's like, they see like evidence that it was all a lie and they never did an adventure
They
for
were
these villagers.
never invited. They've been here for who knows how long.
Yeah, they've been here for a long time. It's like, oh yeah, we did help those villagers that one time.
So you started like the way into it is like as a GM you're like you all wake up in the inn, it's bustling with villagers, they all wave and say good morning. You're a little confused at first, but they all then
Not
say,
even
like,
like
never
that.
say
No. The GM has to kind of like gloss over as if those like, hey guys, we just want to like, let's just jump right into this.
Yeah.
Like this is your line as the GM.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right into this.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Let's just say, you did a nice thing for these villagers or whatever, and then you show up at this resort, and so it's like you're tricking them. It's like another level.
You start the episode. I want to do like sort of a shopping episode, downtime adventure. So let's just say that you've already like helped these villagers, and like your reward was like they gave you these tickets so that we can get to like this fun thing that I want to try.
Yeah.
You gotta lie.
You gotta fuck them over.
Hardcore lie to your players.
You do this in November. They'll never see it coming.
November 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be fun. So, like, are you saying that we start already in the onsen? And it's like,
yeah,
you
or-
could, like the first
yeah,
thing is like
maybe.
you're like the first thing that you all feel is the warmth of the water as you sink into the onsen. What a great reward for helping that village, whatever. And like you do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
Yeah.
also think it could be like going back to your lower power level thing.
Yeah.
I think you're in a hot spring. You took off like all of your armor, all your weapons.
Shit.
You left them out, and when you get out, you literally just have sort of like the robe that you hung there. Everything else is gone. Like
That's a really good way of making it like, okay, let's do, like you have like level 20 characters for whatever reason, and then you like show up at this hot spring, and then you just don't have any of your gear.
Yeah,
you
no
have none
one's
of your
level
stuff.
20 when you're naked.
yeah, but you could also do a thing where it's like, but you could also
Still naked.
You could also
Mag's
do
a
a thing
druid,
where
yeah.
like the hot spring itself is powered because there's this like thing that sucks the ambient mana out of its surroundings. So no, like low magic.
You think you're
no
getting
armor.
rejuvenated, but it's the hot springs.
You're getting dejuvenated.
You're feeding the hot spring.
Is the hot spring alive?
Yeah, the hot
Is it
spring
an ooze? Is the hot spring an ooze?
I think that could
It's too
be
nasty.
I think that because I think the objective should be escape the resort, right?
Yeah.
But
So
I
it's
think,
like a big resort complex.
yeah, and I think that like you could with all the narration and stuff at the beginning, you could say like the front desk were super helpful, the people there were wonderful, everything like the beautiful.
And then when you
walls.
get out of there, there's
It's like
nobody there.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
when's the
It's
heel
still
turn? Yeah, because that
I
is
think-
something we need.
I think just as soon as you come out, basically, you're just like walking around. There's nobody there. It's like, oh, that's
And
weird.
And
it's
I
like,
think that it could be like you come out, the room is like there are cobwebs everywhere. It's dilapidated. It's sort of like The Shining, where there's that woman who gets out of the hot tub and then she's like completely
Yes, I
mummified.
remember
Very
that.
scary.
Yeah.
But it could be like
Spoilers, haven't seen that yet.
yeah.
triggered.
But then you could like have that sort of heel turn of like they are already in the spring, so when they get out, that's when it switches, and so they don't really have a reason to be cautious beforehand.
Yeah, well, I think they also would feel like, oh, okay, we're like doing an adventure now.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, great, and then we're doing all of this or whatever, and yeah, I don't know, because I feel like you don't want to trick them too much, because then they have like nothing to like grab onto. Where they're like, oh, what about Brian, the towel guy, or whatever? Like they have no.
Yeah.
They would have like zero recollection of everything. They would just like you could just feed them like the things that they remember. It's like as you're coming out and you're like, what do I remember? And it's like you vaguely remember that villagers gave you a resort ticket.
Yeah.
And then you showed up and you vaguely remember that somebody at the help desk was helpful.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you know as much as your character does at this point.
Yeah.
So I would say, you do want to spend a little time in the illusion.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think just like enough facts so that those are the facts that they have, and
Right.
because like I don't know, I don't really like memory shit.
Yeah.
And so like when you're coming out, it's like yeah, you would remember that from earlier. And it's like
And
I
again,
don't
this is
really
a-
want any of that.
To Franco's point, this is a one shot, so you want to get as much kind of done and out of the way.
Right.
That's true too. Yeah.
To start, because you only have 3 to 4 hours.
I kind of like the idea of starting at check-in so that
Sure.
their walk
Oh,
in.
yeah, okay.
Either walk in, you could like then set up the stuff that they need to do afterwards. Like you can say like there's like a really beautiful shrine with like
Yeah.
this
yeah.
like
I like that.
glowing orb or whatever, and then you keep walking, and then like in another place there's a portrait of like the proprietor, and like you hit all of these things that they have to like go back and like.
And there's a room that they're not supposed to go into.
Yes.
And so I think that the trigger
friendly
here,
janitor.
and a friendly janitor,
With a walk.
Scruffy.
and I think that for me, if I like starting off with the check-in, I think that there are 2 triggers here, and it is either going into the room they're not supposed to, or checkout. Checkout
okay.
is where you let them just have their hot spring moment. Give it an hour.
Yeah.
And then when they go to check out,
You mean in game?
yeah. Yeah. Let's say this is a 4-hour game, right? So you give them an hour, and then they go to check out, and you just immediately read the copy that you already had for the check-in.
Yeah.
And that's when it goes, oh, shit. Yeah. And then maybe start, they see the portrait, but now the copy says that the portrait, this person is gaunt and they don't have a nose
shit
anymore
like
and
that.
shit like that. And that's
But the janitor's still there.
Yeah, the janitor's still here for some reason.
Maybe he's.
I also
Yeah.
kind of like the idea of the janitor character, just because I feel like horror one shots, the thing that people miss is like someone to like the helpful person.
I'm just
to, like,
stealing this
that
from
helps
Control,
them.
to be honest.
Yeah, like the helpful janitor. I think it could be like he like every time he said like you could have a line that he says every time they pass, but like the more that they start to know, the more meaningful the line is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Just like in Control.
Yeah, there's always money in the banana stand, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's definitely like the
Way out is in.
that's something like that.
Oh, are you guys heading to the water? Remember, like I would get out of there before you like,
Get
before
pruning.
before you
Don't
start
forget your
getting too
tau
waterlogged or whatever.
Your hoopy fruit.
Yeah.
this is the kind of place you'll love to rest, but you'll never want to leave.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
kind of
Hotel California.
What if the janitor was an adventurer before, and he got stuck here?
I think
be
that like
interesting.
in the room is like a bunch of bones or whatever, and there's the janitor's like body is in there. You know what I mean? Like the one of the bones just like you recognize parts of the clothes, the stuff that the janitor is wearing. You know?
That's a lot of fun.
So I was like, if you guys don't figure out a way out of here, you're gonna be ghosts.
Maybe
bones,
of this.
too.
Yeah, and maybe putting that janitor's bones to rest
Oh, that's the
is the
ticket.
key.
So the janitor's the bad guy,
In
or is the house the bad? The resort's the bad.
The
The house
resort
is the
is the
bad
bad person, but
Right.
the janitor is the engine by which the house runs.
Did anyone ever figure out why Murder House was Murder House?
Huh?
You guys remember Murder House?
Debauchka
No.
House?
No, American Horror Story.
No, never heard of
don't
it.
watch it.
No, I don't watch
It's
that
a bad
bullshit.
show.
Yeah, I'm not into
That
it.
shit looks so bad.
Why would a resort be a murder resort?
Well, I think that like it could be that the resort itself like it wants to run itself, so it
Just like
needs
Hill
staff.
House. Yeah,
And
sure.
so the staff is the adventurers that get trapped there.
Oh, so
You
like
know
it's
what
sapient but not sentient. So it's
Yeah.
like I'm a resort. I want to run. I need a trap. Oh, it's capitalism.
I mean? Like maybe like the original owner or whatever like tried to cast a spell on it to make sure they would always run, and then
It went wrong.
It went wrong, and that like
It went too hard.
yeah, the people inside
He rolled a nat 20.
like are slowly drained so that the mana can heat the springs and the people can like work
Oh my God.
in the spring until
Oh
they
God!
collapse.
Yeah, and you see like there's like, well, no, I guess hot springs are usually natural.
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. Yeah, the hot springs could be powered by
Yeah.
something. You know what's really funny is the first module I ever wrote and ran was actually based on an island resort.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
And it was Jurassic Park essentially.
It was kind of like Jurassic Park, a little bit. Yeah, and there was a hot spring and a cold spring, cold bath,
spring, I
cold
love that.
plunge.
Yeah. So we have our way in.
Yes.
Now we need the meat of the adventure.
Yep.
So I
Yum.
think that what we should do is like one thing that I love this like checkout is when the heel turn happens. The thing that I worry about it is how do we depower them?
Sorry, actually, I wanted to go to one thing before that.
Yeah.
Like still in the hour where, or not hour, but like, however long they want to like hang out. I think just a bunch of random tables of like random shit that could happen at the resort.
Like haunt stuff.
Yeah,
that's,
like haunt. Well, yeah.
in the background, but
Weird
spooky, but
things.
not.
Yeah.
Well, no, not even that, but just like like encounters, like this person is like fighting with somebody else over like a towel, or like this person like wants a beach chair, or this kid like runs across the the pool or whatever, or also spooky stuff. Like I think that could be cool to have like randomly, and so like everything kind of feels a little bit unique from time to time.
You see someone like go around and like picking up all the towels and folding them, and then like another person is doing that, and then they start fighting. They like start fighting over a towel or whatever. And
shit, that would be. Oh yeah, what you could do is like maybe the deterioration isn't right away, but like every time you come in, the table of things that could happen
is worse.
Like it like deteriorates. That kind of makes me think of what is it called? It's I think it's called The Haunting of Willoughby Hall. I forget what the gerund is there.
Yeah.
Willoughby Hall by Ben Milton. And like there's like magical things that are keeping this mansion safe.
Yeah.
And then like they deteriorate over time and the encounters like change.
Can I throw in something too? Because you guys are talking about a lot of stuff getting worse and worse. What if there was a character who, as things got worse, just became more and more friendly and helpful to the party?
Oh, that could be disconcerting.
That could be disconcerting.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
it
little,
could be the receptionist,
Yeah, they ignore you completely. They're like, okay, what's up? Whatever. Oh, you have a coupon? Great. Must be nice.
I think that okay, so like
it's like White Lotus.
Yeah, exactly. So we have all of the like the trappings of the environment around, but like in the meat of it, after the heel turn, what is the stuff that they need to like do to get out of the house? What are the dangers in the house? How do we make this like a spooky experience for them?
Well, you were talking off, Mike, about Monster Week gets stronger later if you kill. Make bigger. Yeah.
I don't use many words.
Yeah, I was saying that I've always wanted to do a monster where like it starts out with 5 hit points and it's not very strong or whatever, but every time they kill it, it comes back with double the hit points. So it'd be 5, and then 10, then 20, then 40,
and
then
stronger.
80.
I hope.
Yeah, and so it just and like maybe it's always strong, but like it like always goes last in initiative or something. So that, or like if you do use initiative,
it gets more hit points and it increases its initiative score.
Yeah, or
so
something like that.
it goes faster and faster, and it always hits the same.
It's like movement gets faster. Like so, like if you're playing in like a non D&D game, it's like, oh yeah, this thing starts like lumbering towards you. You like hit it with a hammer, it's done. And then the next time, it's like it sprints at you, or it's like climbing all.
Yeah, you thought you had slow
teleporting.
zombies, but you got fast zombies now.
Maybe it's the receptionist. Like that's the the ghosts kind of thing that like.
Yeah.
You check in, and then like later she's like, when you're trying to get out, she's like, what are you doing here? And then like starts trying to like physically stop you, and you.
What if pitch the receptionist is the amalgam that the spirit of the resort has made. So like the resort is still the big bad evil, but it condenses its like ability to interact with the world through this receptionist.
Yeah, and all the other people that are around are like the ghosts of the people that are like
Are
forced
also
to work there or
so
whatever.
yeah, so the more that you deal with the receptionist,
and all of them ignore you. That's what. Okay, so there we go. So like you're like, oh, these people aren't very helpful at first, but then you're like, oh no, they're like automated through their work. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Except for this janitor who maybe was like a high-level adventurer and still has some a
Ooh,
little bit of
okay.
intelligence to
But
try
it
to
still
be
is a
like,
ghost.
So getting into that room, then that will help essentially make him a helpful force.
Yeah.
Because let's say like, okay, so I feel like what I want is that the receptionist has like this network and all of the other ghosts are like cogs in it. So you want to disconnect the receptionist as much as you can from other parts of the resort by trying to figure out how to release these ghosts so the receptionist is weak enough that you can get past her and out the door.
Then you need to be putting all of them to rest. And this is actually, I do love this because ghost stories and of finding a way to put them to rest, one of my favorite things. Because beating something up, fine, whatever. But solving something, way more interesting. So each of them is doing something that's very automated, but it's a simple enough problem, a little puzzle for your players to do. Like this person is trying to find a lost dog. Like their dog is lost somewhere on the compound. This person's trying to
find their dog's bones.
yeah.
Or, like, I love the idea of like, okay, we're talking about the person folding towels earlier, but maybe like somebody is like checking the temperature of the springs like over and over, and then you go down to like the boiler room or whatever, and you find like a skeleton like strapped to like a cross or something, and it's like amulet is like draining all of the mana out of its environment to heat the springs or whatever, and that's why it keeps to checking the water. Something like that, and then you have to like, so you could have 3 separate, because you're not going to get through 3.
I think 3 is
I like different, like laying to rest. Do you also mean the category of like unfinished business?
Correct.
Like completing unfinished business.
Correct.
Yeah. That sounds very fun.
Yeah, I think, so we have to just adapt it then. So maybe it's not like that it was inherently evil as a spring, but then when the person cast the spell to like make it want to run itself, that like, you know, that person did work there and test the heat of the spring and was like always, you know,
so basically we can
that.
understand how do they get out of the job that they were given? How do we help complete their task in such a
that's
way
really
that
good.
they get to go home?
100%.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How do I end my shift finally?
Yeah.
How do I heat the hot spring so that it doesn't need to draw mana?
Yes.
What if there's
anymore?
like, I mean, a simple way to do it would be like a punch clock, you know, and like each of the bones or whatever has like a punch clock card.
I think that's fantastic. Like that's another alternative
Yes.
exit here.
that's good
like,
too.
and maybe that's in that room where the janitor's bones are. In that room, that's why you're not allowed to go in there.
And that room is
are there
really-
punch cards, and it is locked and secured and trapped.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
and
it's
like
super hard to get into that
Yeah.
bone.
and like every time you go by the janitor or whatever, he's like, well, have fun. This place is wonderful, but nothing beats like going back home to your family or whatever. Like,
Yes, exactly.
I feel like I never get to punch out. You know, like
That's really good. Yeah, I feel like, okay, I want the origin of the curse to be something like the capitalistic piece of shit that owns the resort.
Yeah.
the guy in the portrait.
Yeah.
Yes, wanted everything to run wanted everything to run like 24/7.
Yeah.
And somehow like whatever this magic was like got really imbued into like the main part of it was the front desk person, like the receptionist. And so like this character, the receptionist, has been like pumped with all of this like bad energy, and then the receptionist like then took over the whole resort as a consequence of it. Like it's like a
I think that
retaliation
Let
thing.
me pitch to that. So that we have the capitalist owner.
Sure.
Our receptionist would be like the front house manager.
Yeah.
Working the front desk, who worked herself literally to death.
Yeah.
Because she could never like please the owner, our big bad, our bigger bad.
Yeah.
So when she died at that desk, and that is why her spirit is tied to and making sure that everyone else works as hard as she had to work. Because it's like, oh, I worked so hard that I died.
She's like the manager.
It becomes everyone else needs to work so hard that they die, and then but everyone gets locked into this. We can't stop. Gotta keep going.
She's a very toxic manager.
Yeah, and I think that you can. I still like the idea of lots of like a table of lots of other weird stuff that's happening, because I do like the idea that like this place attracts adventurers and just like people in, and then just makes them work forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's like part of it. So I think that you can still have the table of the people.
Yeah. Oh, you come for a vacation, but you get lopped into like never-ending labor.
There are even like help wanted things you can applications that you can.
So we have one, which is the person testing the water. You have the janitor, who is, let's make a task that's like an impossible task that he's stuck on. Like, what is the thing? Like maybe he's like trying to fix up the walls or whatever, but every time you go through, they're like crumbling or something. Or I don't know.
Or even maybe he's just trying to
Tries to mop up, but the floor keeps bleeding.
that's something. Or
there's a mouse. He's got to catch that mouse.
Yeah.
But the mouse is ghost sound, so it's like you can't.
I was gonna say maybe he's trying to fix the door that his body is behind.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
He's
That's
trying to unjam that door.
Yeah, he's trying to unjam that door, and for some reason it can't be fixed. So his is the last. It should be the most difficult thing to accomplish, and it is the last thing you have to accomplish.
Because maybe there are keys,
Yeah.
and like at the other sites you find keys as well, and that's where the punch clock is, like inside there, and it's like locked up tight because the thing doesn't want anyone to punch
Because
out.
the receptionist, the hotel manager's punch card is in there too, and as soon as you punch that card,
the thing it's
done.
It's over. I think that so we have what
I think you should have to find the manager's punch card.
you're right. It's the manager's punch card slot is there, but the card's not there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so we have the janitor, we have the water tester. What's like another essential role in a
Towel guy.
Whoever's running the restaurant.
Oh, restaurant
the
manager.
restaurant manager.
Yeah.
I also love a horror setting that's involved with like
Service industry.
like cooking,
Bartender,
bartender.
the chef.
Oh, yeah.
The
Ooh, the
bartender
chef.
could be fun. Or
Bartender would be good. Waiter would be really good too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you
great
can
monsters.
I think you can.
Great monster.
Great monsters. Wait staff.
I think you can kind of like, it doesn't have to be one person. It can be like a crew for each of these. It's one haunting general, like broadly, like the whole restaurant is one of the hauntings.
It's tough as a one shot. Then like we have to figure out like
It is.
because I don't know. Maybe it's like we have to punch out a certain amount of them, and then it like kind of weakens it, and then you can escape, or you can stay.
Well, I
and
think what
try
it
to
is
release
you
everybody.
as the player have to figure out how do you get the unruly spirits at these tables to be content,
Right. As soon
and
as
then that lets the wait staff go home for the night.
yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess it could also be
You could bring in my desire to someday do a catering
that would be really
game.
cool. Yeah, it could be something where it's like there's like like 3 tasks that are really hard to do, like impossible tasks, like the boiler room guy, which is like the water tester, and then like the full restaurant being like make all the
Here it is.
patrons chill out, and then a third one, or get everyone's punch cards and punch out.
I think again having that as an alternative.
So like having
that-
3 of those like main ones, and then all the punch cards.
I think the chef is still there, but is like panicking because there is no wait staff because their ghosts aren't there or whatever, and so you have to like
They're all
help.
on break.
Yeah, you have to. He's
They're
like,
in
I
the
don't know.
alley
Nobody is
smoking.
here today. I don't know what's going on. Like
Yeah.
I can cook the food, but I can't do the waiting. I can't do the hosting.
Oh,
or
'cause it's
So
whatever.
you have to wait.
yeah,
it
and you have
falls
to
in-
do all of it.
Who is like easier to prey upon in a restaurant? The older generation chef, or like the Gen Zs who are like, I'm gonna just leave because I'm getting abused. Because some people are more prone to taking abuse, which causes them to get cursed to stay forever.
Yeah, could do that.
So yeah, that's why the chef's there, but the wait staff isn't, because they're like, we're not dealing with this.
Well, I just think like the wait staff wasn't there when the magic went crazy.
Yeah.
And so like the chef is trapped,
Or they're there. I don't know.
or they're there, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we have.
It doesn't have to be a big resort too.
No, it can be small.
Yeah.
It can be.
Just trying to think of like the scale.
I think that it's essentially like 3 wings. There's the like onsen like hot springs section. There are the rooms where maybe the janitor is, and like the closet is where all the punch cards are. And then there is the food section, which is where the other thing is, and the front desk is right in the center.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That sounds good.
And that way you would also always have to pass the front desk when you go to different wings, and
that's
so
fun.
that you can force like weird stuff to happen, like either they see like maybe the receptionist is like super helpful or whatever, but then one time it's like gone and there's just a skeleton, and like the next time she's there but she's on the ceiling typing and just like interacts like normally to you, like that kind of stuff. So we have the 3 different sort of things. Right after this break, we'll build out those encounters and maybe a monster to kind of go with all of this. So
We'll see.
We'll be back right after this.
All right, guys, what do we want to talk about for the commercial?
Maybe the hot dog is a sandwich kind of a thing?
No, that's stupid, man. Everyone knows a hot dog is not a sandwich.
All right. What do you want to do then?
Let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about, UFOs.
So my toilet Mike Tyson was telling me the other day that you can survive a zombie apocalypse in a PetSmart.
Dude, are you okay?
Yeah, what was that?
I'm sorry. I don't even know what's happening right now. I've been listening to our podcast a lot recently, and it's a ton. What's going on?
All right, I'm just going to make this easy. Hey, y'all, we are the hosts of Master and Debaters, the podcast that debates all of life's silly questions. Join us every week as we present our hardest opinions on the softest topics. I'm Puck, and football is the worst sport.
I'm Alex, and a hot dog is absolutely a sandwich.
I'm Spencer, and the Beatles suck.
This is Master and Debaters. Find us wherever you get podcasts, and as always, stay mad.
Welcome back to Tabletop. We are building a Halloween one-shot. We're at the hot
Halloween.
springs. It's not going to happen.
I'm hella dunny.
this guy. So here we are. We, before the break, talked about all of the sort of structure that we're going to now build the specifics of. It is a resort horror escape one shot where you start by having them come in, like check in and like go to this hot springs. They have a really great time. Like Franco said, there's a weird table that you can roll for different encounters. There's, they kind of meet some of the people. They come back, and when they try to check out, they get checked in again, and they start all over, and stuff starts getting weird. So let's start talking about how they actually break out of this. So we have our three things: the chef side, the spring side, and the rooms. How do we want to do this?
I like the idea of there being also like a countdown on this as well, especially because it's a one shot.
Yeah.
Like there's a deteriorating element. Like
Yeah.
at some point, it's like you better solve this in X amount of time or whatever.
Sunrise,
By the end of the
I
session.
think, is a good.
Huh?
If you're not out by sunrise, and you're in forever.
Oh yeah, you're in forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Like,
an employee now.
it could
You
like
work here
on the
now.
desk. It says like check in and then a checkout time, and it could miss your
Yeah.
checkout time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could be like check in 7 o'clock and then check out 11 o'clock or something.
And that's
Typical.
Doesn't matter what the time is.
yeah.
That's a really late check-in.
11 p.m. Okay, so how do we want to do
I'm
this?
seeing it like an escape room scenarios where like you're trying to like solve some sort of like random puzzle that one person couldn't, but 2 or 3 people could work together to do as sort of like a ways to get. So that's why these single people have gotten stuck. They need help.
Yeah, I think that what you could do is like, so for the boiler room one, that when they go and try, like they find the like closet going down or whatever to the actual boiler where this is happening, like there is something that has to happen, like where someone has to stay on the outside to like open this portal or something down to the boiler room. One person has to actually go down and get the punch card or whatever, and then one person, like there's something happening to prevent the party from like holding this portal open, so something is happening that another person is going to have to do or something. So it's like you said, like 3 people all have to be doing something to succeed. So
Yeah.
how do you want to build that encounter?
Okay, so you gotta light the pilot light to get the boiler guy out.
Yeah.
So you got to get a flame across the room.
But there's a breeze.
But there's a breeze.
Or it's raining inside. Something like that.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah.
We get it.
I think also because again, alternatives. I think
Yeah.
it would be fun if there was like a thing in the kitchen that was like a special ingredient that literally is just, it's like made for spice or heat. And if you just
Like
throw
dragon
that,
spice or whatever.
yeah, something like that. If you just throw that in the water, that also accomplishes your goal.
Ooh, okay, yeah, because
Ooh, okay,
it
so
heats up the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
fun.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, I
like
think that
that. Yeah.
each different mystery has something that can unlock an easy way
Something
for
at
another
another spot.
mystery.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So
Mega Man
like,
style.
yeah. So I like the idea that, okay, so the janitor is the last guy that you have to do. So like he's trying to unstick this door, but you see all of these big deadbolts. He's like, man, I can't get this door open. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Maybe there's like, in the boiler room, there's a, one of those big hammer things that you do to break open doors, like apartment doors that have the deadbolts.
Oh, I'm just seeing like each of those deadbolts are like manifested by the ghost. So the more ghosts we get out, the less deadbolts are on the door.
I love the
I like
idea
that
that
too.
also
That's
like
good.
there's like a comical amount of deadbolts on this door. It's like
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount of deadbolts. And I also like the idea of there being like just like a mail slot, and that's like where the ghosts get sucked in through or something like that. Like all the bones get sucked in through there, and it's like we're never opening this door. This janitor's never getting in.
Yeah.
But that's how all the bones are being disposed of and just being sucked in through here or something like that.
Or maybe you find him first and he's sweeping and he's pushing the the refuse into it. And he's like, yeah, the furnace is in there or whatever.
Okay.
And he's like, there's like a dog door or whatever, and you're like, he's sweeping it through, you know.
Yeah.
And there's like you said, a crazy amount of locks on it.
But yeah, it should be dangerous to go through that door for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like maybe it like grinds up the bone into bone meal or something like that. And It's like a grinder or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you could like maybe finagle a way to jam something in there and like stop the mechanism and like push it or whatever, so you could still like brute force your way through if you wanted to.
I also kind of like that you could like you slot it up and like he's like pushing all of the stuff through this like, you know, little slot at the bottom of the door. But if someone like just tries to like crawl through it as like if you're playing in D&D, like a wild shape that's like a guillotine and it like comes down.
That works.
Yeah, and so you could do something like that where you like have a skill challenge that's dangerous that someone can get through, or you can do it a different way, which is something we haven't come up with yet.
Something that's up to the players to find out.
It's an escape room, but with a Saw theme now.
And then, okay, so we have the boiler room. Like someone has to like hold the door open. Someone has to bring like a light to light the pilot light, like you said. Or there's like something in the kitchen that heats up the water.
What if the boiler room was like freezing cold?
Yeah, like it's like you're in danger going in there.
Well, honestly, that would make sense with the idea of like this amulet is sucking the environmental heat out and forcing it into the. So it would be a cold room.
Yeah,
right. It'd be like a vacuum.
Like a skeleton in there or whatever.
Ooh, what if like if you're fine unless you're trying to bring a lighter to that pilot light, then it's cold.
I got it. So you can bring the fire or whatever, the light in, but you like if you take the amulet that's on the skeleton that's like sucking all the mana in, maybe the chef is like, I have to do dessert. I don't know what to do. Like the power, like the power in my fridges went out. All the ice cream is gone or whatever. And you can like bring the amulet that will like start repowering the thing so you can make like a cold dessert for people or like cold drinks if they're a bartender or
Because it
something.
absorbs heat. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like you throw it in there. I think that for the chef thing, you should just have to like go out and like clear tables and stuff, but the actual room is dangerous. Like every time you go out there, the like zombies are there, they're hungry, and then they're all like sort of like coming for you. So
you have to serve the zombies, but the zombies will try to eat you every time you come up to the
exactly.
table.
So you're like going out and you're like trying to like take all the dishes away and like put more food down before these zombies like grab you and like eat you or whatever.
Some of them breathe fire.
Yeah.
And if you take a closer inspection of like the food, it's like brains and shit.
It's just like horrible
but
pieces
it looks
of bodies.
it looks like normal food if you're not looking closely.
It's normal food at the pickup.
Yeah.
But then somewhere along the way, it just turns into rotting flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so then like,
Terrifying.
and if you do all the things the chef asks you, he's like, oh, thank God we did it. We did dinner service. I'm gonna like go punch out or whatever, and he like takes his hat off, and then like the thing, like the little punch card, like is in the hat, and when you look back, he's gone, and you can take the punch card.
Love it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And so then the boiler person, like maybe the punch card is like on the skeleton with the amulet in there. So you like light the thing, the amulet stops sucking all the mana out of everywhere. You take it off and take
Because the players wouldn't necessarily know that the punch card is part of it.
Yeah.
Right, but I think finding the punch card the first time would then immediately go, wait a second, why? And then they'll go to the hotel manager and say, hey, we found this punch card. And the hotel manager then will say, you know, like, give it back to me. Like, they'll get really defensive about it.
Just give it to me.
It'll be a trigger.
Yeah.
And maybe that turns the hotel manager into a monster. Like that, then she is following you.
She becomes
like,
She
becomes aware that
they
you're
become
aware.
They're aware that you're aware, and they become the thing that you're worried about regenerating.
Yeah.
Although
and coming at you.
I feel like if you gave them the card, that's what they want, and so maybe they wouldn't come after you. Do you know what I mean?
but then you don't have the card. You know?
Right.
Just like
exactly.
Keep them off of your trail,
I feel like
but
that's
you
the
sacrifice that chef. Right?
If you give them the card again, then the restaurant situation happens again, and you have to be careful with that because you don't want. Again, this is a one shot, a single issue. So if that happens again, be cool and just say to your players, "Yeah, you see the restaurant, and this restaurant or the chef does not recognize you, is begging you for help." Do you just play out the scenario again? Yeah, we do. We already solved it once. Cool. Let them hand wave it. Yeah. And they just know that now I don't give the damn thing to her.
Yeah.
But it's harder.
What if his bones are also there, and so even if you do fuck up and give the manager the punch card, you could like find a place to bury the bones or something.
Could also be
And the
something.
maybe.
soup. Make a,
I don't know.
But and
broth.
to what you're saying, Daniel, I don't think that you actually have them play through it again. Don't have them play the zombie service minigame again, just because that's going to add more time and just it's just kind of a.
I think what you do is you really lean into your acting as a GM, and like when you go like, "Hey, we found this like punch card," she's like, "Give that to me," or whatever, and like totally like her face turns
She goes
different.
full Bilbo.
And she like reaches across the thing and her nails are long and she scratches at you and you're like, oh shit. And maybe that's the first time you use like violence to try to kill her, and then she's like back the next time, but she like looks slightly different and she starts getting worse and worse and like trying to find you.
Yeah, I like that. I think that works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so then we have the last one, which is the janitor. How we do the janitor? Like maybe you have to clean the rooms or something? I don't know.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that's good because the janitor is preoccupied with this door, and so their work is not happening, right?
And maybe like
This is not like a janitor; it's more like a housekeeping person.
Man,
I guess,
And I think it could be that like it's not even so much like a mini game or whatever. You could just have like 6 rooms and there's just like fucking scary shit in each one. That's like not even like an encounter or whatever. You just have to go in and like put everything away as it's this horrible scene that you play out.
It should just be like every room you go in, it's like every room is going to be trapped. Just go in and let it be. Let it happen. Let it wash over me. Every room is a trap.
So you like set up either like mini encounters or just like creepy shit that's in each one of them they have to deal with. And
One
then
of them's like a room that becomes like that like stretches out into infinity like a mirror. Like a mirror on a mirror.
Oh my god, and there's like a pile of clothes that you have to like sort one into the other, but like there's something walking down the thing and like it starts getting closer and closer.
Honestly, one of the rooms, like the more you're trying to like straighten it up, it shrinks in on you. So you're like you got that claustrophobia fear coming in. So you got to do this fast because otherwise the room's gonna.
There's nowhere to put this anymore because
and there's dust.
shelf's too small.
Oh, and like there's the dustpan that's on the floor or whatever, and a bunch of this like dirt or whatever. And on closer inspection, it's just like bone crushed, like like fragments of bone from the room getting so small. Yeah, you could do that, and that you can put one of those timers you were talking about, like with the poker chips. You know what I mean? Okay, so you have that. You have the other one with the boiler room person, and you have the chef as well. After all that happens, maybe the locks are...
Yeah, suddenly the maintenance or janitorial individual housekeeping is able to get into that room.
Yeah.
And you go to that room where you pass them by, the players pass them by, and see them. They've unlocked the door, they have the door open, and they're just standing there dumbfounded staring at their long deceased skeleton.
Yeah.
And that's when you kind of... deal with that. I think you should still have maybe one last chance to fight because you haven't found the hotel manager's punch card, and that is an alternative win condition. But maybe at this point, once the door has unlocked, beating the hotel manager at this point, even if it's still an easy thing, like you've never fought them yet, they leave the punch card behind when they slither away or whatever happens.
After you open the door, the punch card drops. Yeah, I was thinking like you could do that, or like maybe the people could find it early as like an alternative win condition of maybe like you go through the drawers and stuff, and this person's like so devoted to the owner and like all this kind of stuff, and then you find like behind the owner's
like there's like a little portrait behind the desk.
And
I
like the punch card is like in the portrait frame or something.
What if like to get the manager's time punch card, you have to make everyone else work a little bit harder to do what they're supposed to do. Like you go the other way with it.
Oh yeah, that's also interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of different win conditions you could have. Before we like kind of go into like how do you get out of the one shot, I want to talk a little bit about the monster and how it would function within the game, because you have all of these sort of mini games for the punch cards throughout. So how would the actual monster of this person be like following you or whatever it is? Like how does that work within the game?
I don't know. Like what kind of abilities?
Yeah, what kind of abilities, and like when do you like what dictates when they show up and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, the monster is a micromanager. So as you're trying to do the other games, they show up and tell you that you need to be doing things that would make it harder. But if you don't listen to them, then they start like dealing psychic damage.
I love that. I don't think it's very scary.
We have different fears.
Yeah,
Yeah, the hotel manager, their head turns upside down, their neck goes twisty.
I think that like
they
crawling on the ceiling,
Yeah.
they're following you, kind
pretty
of thing.
spooky stuff.
Like, I think, how do we have her show up though?
Well, I think
Just traveling the hallways.
She
like,
shows up
you
every
roll a
time you have to
dice?
go through the rooms, like through the lobby.
Random.
Yeah,
right.
maybe you just roll a dice, and whenever you're going from somewhere to another, you roll a d4, and if you get a 4, it shows up. You know what I mean?
Well,
Something like that.
yeah, I think it's anytime you're carrying a punch card. Because
For the first time, like the first time you get a punch card.
the first time you get a punch card, the hotel manager, as soon as you notify them that, hey, I found this, because the players will be like, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
I guess I'll give it to this. That's when the mask is pulled off and this hotel manager is shown to be a monster. And anytime your characters have a punch card on their person is a chance that when they enter a new room, you roll to see, does the monster version show up?
And then I like the idea that like doubles the health and
Yeah.
the like speed of this person each time. You dispatch them, but they can also just like run away from the creature or, you know, like hide or whatever. And you could have checks all on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this is pretty agnostic module too. It could really go in anything. Like I was thinking this would be a great monster of the week as well. But how do you get out of the mini-sode? What's the you just go like you have this final confrontation in the lobby with the person and then you bounce? Like how does this go?
I'm still really of the opinion that you need to punch the card of the hotel manager. That just kind of
I wonder
sends
if
them into arrest.
I wonder if there's like different outcomes could happen as well. Like maybe you punch everybody else out, and so since they all are leaving for the night, you maybe can sneak out. But like the hotel's still active, or you punch out the hotel manager, and then you've completely deactivated the hotel, and it's like no longer doing all this terrible shit.
Like I said, like you can leave at any time. Like the front, like you can go out the front door, but the hotel manager, the curse, pulls the door shut, and the more punch cards you've put in, the more your chance for success of getting through that door increases. But then again, if you get the manager's punch card, then she's not there to stop that door open. But every time you try, you incite a fight with the monstrous version of that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want her to be as weak as possible before I do this.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
I think just to make it as simple as possible, you get the 3 punch cards, and then that instigates the fight with the thing that maybe you have to try to do to get through her, to get to the door. Her punch card falls, and then there's the choice of either do we go and punch out this card, or
do we
just
kill it?
leave, you know?
Or you kill it.
Or you, yeah.
Oh,
I feel like it's more like I feel like it might be good if it's sort of like you're fighting this person, they have like a punch card maybe like embedded somewhere in their person or something like that. And then you like see that and you're like, I've punched out these other people. Maybe if I punch out like their thing, this will let us go. And since the punch thing is in another room or something like that, there's all kinds of tactics and shit that you can throw out, or you can just try to kill the monster straight away. I think it might be like that could be it.
I think that we're again like kind of talking the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that this is like yes to that, and I think that it's like good end, medium end, I guess.
Yeah.
Where like if you punch her like the manager's card out, the curse kind of breaks and like the thing crumbles around. You see that the magic of this facility has broken, and like maybe there's like a cool little epilogue with the portrait of the person who owned it is like
melting,
like horrible or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like revealed to be this demonic thing, or you just like you kill this creature and then you just like fucking book
leave,
it,
but it's still
on the hill, and it's like you see the lights go back on as like
actually I want the guy who owns this hotel. He's just a regular guy and he's just an asshole.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like because hauntings are one of my favorite kinds of hauntings are the unrequited love kinds. Like I think like
This guy's love for capitalism.
This guy's love for capitalism, but I think that she has poured so much of her time and devotion to him, and he does not care. And maybe that's also an alternative win condition. Like, you can break into his penthouse and
is he still there?
I don't know. Maybe he is.
He's still there. Yeah, you just climb up there.
Or
Fuck that. That's great.
And the curse that he indirectly cast.
Yeah.
He's just been like holed up there for centuries or something like that.
Yeah.
He's just like, I can't age. Like, this place is making me like not age or whatever. Maybe that's like part of
rocks.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'm just
all
here.
of his needs are met, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun too.
Yeah.
That's a little
there's
twist.
There's a lot of little fun
Yeah.
things you could do, and I think with everything, you always want to just kind of roll with what's interesting in the moment in the party. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I
Sick.
think that we built a pretty decent one. We have these 3 kind of mini games: the boiler room, the chef, and the janitor, like the cleaning of the 6 rooms or whatever. You have the monster of the overall hotel manager, receptionist person. You have the side monster of the person who owns the building, and it all comes from like this stupid little Hot Springs episode because everything is anime. Cool.
That's right.
Well, I hope that everyone has a fun Halloween and enjoys either running this module or one like it from some of the tips that we've given out to build a one-shot for Halloween. Does anyone have any final thoughts on building something like this for their group?
I would like to talk about MTV's Fear for the next 30 minutes.
Okay. I gonna veto that.
no. Keep it rolling, Nick. And
Shade, why you keep pointing at my computer? Anything you want to say, Daniel?
Have fun.
All right, everyone. I hope you have a spooky game.
And see us in 2024 for Halloweenies 2.
have a hella good one.
All right.
Yeah,
bye.
none of them worked.
Did you say Helios Network stuff?
Oh, yeah. I should probably say Tabletop is part of the Helios Network, an amazing podcast platform for regular people by regular people. If you like Tabletop, you might like some of the other shows on the network, like Master and Debaters, which is a show where people take really strong stances on pretty stupid topics. It's very fun. You should check it out. And you should give Helios Network, Tabletop, and all the other shows a like on Instagram. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Later.